Hi, and welcome to another edition of Health, Nutrition and I. And today we have somebody really dynamic, Dr. Arjun Dang, with us today to talk about the work he's doing. Welcome, Arjun. It's a pleasure to have you. So, Arjun, you wear so many hats. You are a medical doctor, you're right up there doing brilliantly, and you're a fitness enthusiast and an anchor, and so many more things. And you're really deeply involved in your work with all the other things that you do. So, tell me, how did your journey begin? And the fact that your father was in this, it's a natural trajectory. But do you think that you had imagined what you're doing today back then when you started off, or are you doing it differently?
So, firstly, it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here and to be chatting with you. And I think this is a very relevant question because only a couple of days back, I was actually going through my childhood albums and I saw these photos where I was actually the youngest anchor of the tug of war team in my school.
And that
And
was what age?
I was in sixth grade, and this is when I was about 10 or 11 years of age. I think I must have been 60 kgs with about 5 feet 2 inches
Oh, how
perhaps.
cute would that be?
And cute, but at the same time, of course, that was a time when I, of course, needed to start focusing on my health as well. And I still remember that I used to only snack on motichur laddus and besan laddus, and that is why I had kind of become a laddu myself.
Health, Nutrition and I with Ishi Khosla. Produced with support from the Illness to Wellness Foundation.
And I think it was God's way of telling
Oh
me
my
that, okay,
God.
enjoy all the food that you want when you're
Till
young.
it,
And then, of course, get on that journey soon after you're in your teenage. And I think when I started off, I really never thought that I would be actually pursuing the medical field. And if I go back maybe about couple of decades, I think the person who I owe to actually me being here and, of course, in my pursuit of excellence is my dadu. We actually lost him at the age of 97, my paternal grandfather.
yes, I
And
am
I
aware.
think he was one person who inspired me the maximum in this
He was from
journey.
the army.
So he was a physician during the partition times.
Okay.
So again, worked very closely during that time when physicians used to probably do even more surgeries than a surgeon today, and of course know
Hmm.
everything A to Z in the in the medical fraternity would at that point of time. But you know, there's one thing that he said that actually still sticks with me is that a doctor should be three A's, that is available, able, and affable. And that
That
basically,
is so
yes.
apt. And tell me, how did you become so fit after being that laddu?
So I think more than anything, more than a destination, I think it was a journey. I think it was more also about studying the science behind the benefits of actually watching your diet and having some exercise during the day. I think overall, once you actually learn about the benefits, not only from the bookish
At
knowledge
what
that
age
we
was
get,
that?
so that was, I think, around when I was in high school that I start getting that knowledge. And of course, once I took up science and then med school
Makes it the two of
happened.
us here.
Yes.
Exactly the
No,
same thing.
high five to that. But I think it was more of understanding science and then wanting to implement it on myself also. That, of course, made me change from the besan laddus and the motichur laddus.
To medicine,
Yes,
and to me, nutrition.
of
It
course.
it make that part. I was going to do medicine, but then when this hit me, I said, "Oh my God, food is so powerful. I'd rather study this," and that's how my path was chartered. So anyhow, do you also practice a lot of, say, like fitness regimes? Do you have a diet specific routines, or is it just general? With your busy schedules, how do you make time for exercising and for eating right?
So my days are definitely very long, at least longer than I hope they were. But of course, I enjoy every minute. But I do try and take out about an hour in the morning, just so that I can stay active and not have a completely sedentary lifestyle. Because, like you said, I mean, being around patients the entire day, of course, doesn't give me that activity time that I would ideally want. So I try and do that in the morning times only. Of course, with meals, lunch is always quick, but I do try to spend some time while having all my meals. I try to reduce my TV watching time as well, and just note the try. And of course, meals also to be smaller in portions, and of course, to eat slower and chew my food properly is something that I'm very mindful about, or at least I give it my best shot.
It's working for you, and I hope those people who complain that they don't have time for exercising and being fit should get a few tips from there.
Health, Nutrition and I with Ishi Khosla. Produced with support from the Illness to Wellness Foundation.
So, coming back to your work that you're doing, how do you feel about this whole, shift from conventional pathology work to what's happening today? Today, we are seeing, be it a part of functional medicine or conventional medicine, the gut has become a mainstream conversation now. And when did you see this shifting, and how do you see this panning out, and what do you make out of it?
So very, very relevant question again. I feel that as years have passed by, diagnostics itself has evolved. This evolution probably has been a function of more precision in the way diseases, not only how they are diagnosed, but also how they are treated and managed. So if you probably go back a couple of decades, it was the same thyroid profile and the same liver function and kidney function that when automation was bought in, I still remember it was 2002 or 2003 when we launched the first ever automated thyroid function test in the country. It was by Abbott, and I still remember us doing that. It was such a big thing at that point of time. And in 1999 was the first time when we uploaded the first ever lab reports on the internet, and it was also recorded in the Limca World Book of Records. So I mean, when we look at that time and now, I think there has been an entire metamorphosis in which what we are testing and how diagnostics are actually delivered. Now, from the days of the very simple testing that were again very basic biochemistry and clinical pathology, now the testing has moved towards more of a way that actually looks at holistic health, that actually looks at not just the symptom, but at the overall ecosystem that might be causing that symptom to appear in the first place. Like, for example, if you have a simple headache and you go to a physician today, they'll probably give you an over-the-counter analgesic or a painkiller. However, any kind of chronic headaches that you have, again in the functional world or in the holistic medicine or in the integrated medicine world, all of these are of course synonymous with each other. It will actually look at the root cause. Is it an imbalance of your gut microbiome? Is it something that's related to heavy metal toxicity? Is it actually a fault in your organic acids metabolism? Is it
That's
your
all sounding like functional medicine. So,
Absolutely.
Arjun, I feel there's still a lot of resistance among the orthodox conventional practitioners, and they don't buy into this. There is a lot of resistance. Even if you look at food intolerance, if you look at the microbiome issues, I mean, I have colleagues and friends who say, बैलेंस खाना खाओ सब ठीक है, इसका कोई मतलब नहीं है, this is only fad and new medicine, ऐसी they trivialize this as something which has no relevance. And here is we are doing specific microbes and testing and supplementing those specific strains, and we are also identifying microbes for specific reasons. Akkermansia is for metabolic function, so we are seeing the missing ones in your poop and doing that. And we're also doing things like, I mean, a mainstream doctor, he is giving his own stool for fecal transplantation to a Parkinson's patient. Now, if you've come that far, and here is this whole view of 90% of the practitioners, where is the resistance? Why is there lack of acceptance that this science can really make things radically different? We can reverse diabetes. We can, deal with even from the worst, the big C to autoimmunity to mental health issues through the gut. That science is real, robust evidence. but yet it is not being practiced. And the patient suffers because if he goes to his mainstream doctor, be it whoever, ye sab nahi, let's get on with the medicine.
So I think very relevant in today's world. I 100% agree with you that there is resistance, but I feel resistance is also justified in certain cases in their defense, owing to the lack of awareness, firstly. And I will tell you, ma'am, in medical school, we were really never taught in depth about functional medicine.
Neither were we.
Exactly. And so I don't really blame the physicians out there because, of course, for them, if they are actually treating their patients on the back of science and their MBBS and their MD didn't have any stress upon
But this is
functional or
science too.
holistic testing.
Yeah.
So if this wasn't there at that point of time, I don't blame
So
them.
where's the gap? How do we fill this gap? Because the science is there. You go to PubMed and you see tons of articles
course.
published on whether it's gluten sensitivity, non-celiac gluten sensitivity, whether it's a microbiome, and whether it's any of the other aspects of health we've talked about. You said heavy metals, organic acids. There's so much robust evidence, and when you intervene at that level with with patients, you see those dramatic changes. I think we need to work on this to bridge the gap.
What I feel about awareness about functional testing, it's actually like chicken and egg. So here the chicken is awareness and the egg is cost. Because as awareness is low, until we actually increase that awareness, increase the learnings, increase the education of the physicians, and that drives the volumes of functional testing in India, the cost is never going to be at that price point where the country can actually afford it. So it actually starts with that awareness so that the doctors are more informed and more aware, and hence the volumes of these tests increases, and then eventually the cost can also come down. So I think right now the acceptance is also a function of the higher costings as well, and that's of course going to take its own time, but will come down hopefully.
And I think that whole thing about why did I get a heart attack? Why did I get diabetes? That is now being answered.
Health, Nutrition and I with Ishi Khosla. Produced with support from the Illness to